Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dylan's Daily Show. So, I tweeted this morning that Democrats do not care about this country, right? I tweeted that out, and when I tweeted it, I expected to get some negative feedback, right? I knew it was going to be a controversial tweet. I wasn't expecting a lot of positive feedback from that tweet, but I tweeted it out for a reason, right? Do I genuinely believe that all Democrats don't care about this country? No. I don't think that every single Democrat voter does not care about this country. But if you split the Democratic Party up into two groups, you will see that the people who fund the Democrats and the Democratic establishment, they are the ones that, in fact, do not care about this country. And they have manipulated the average voter, the average Democrat voter, into believing that their agenda is the best path for America and that it's good for this country. Right? That is how it works. So you've got your average Democrat voter, who I do believe cares about this country, right? They have been manipulated through propaganda paid for by people like George Soros and politicians like Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, who want to fundamentally change this country, you know, strip us from our Judeo-Christian values, implement socialized medicine, implement more big government policies, implement socialism in this country. You know, Bernie Sanders, socialist, literally a socialist, a democratic socialist, same thing, right? If someone says democratic socialist, it's the exact same thing as a socialist, which, as Vladimir Lenin has told us, famous communist, the goal of socialism is communism. So whenever someone says democratic socialism, expect communism to come down very soon after. But so they have convinced these people, you know, that the average Democratic voter, that what the Democratic Party supports is what's best for the country and that they love this country. And so you've got the average Democratic voter completely brainwashed. Things like free education, right? Oh, free education. Let's implement free education. Like that's going to do anything. By the way, government-funded education sucks. Look at the test scores of Common Core. I did a video on my YouTube channel called The Cost of Unintelligence, if you want to check it out. It's a fantastic video where I went into detail about Common Core and how it's literally dumbing down our students. I made it about a year ago. You can go check that out. Just The Cost of Unintelligence, Dylan's Daily Show. Search it on YouTube. You can find it if you want to check that out. But it's terrible, right? Obamacare, for example, implemented by Obama during his first year in office. The architect, one of the chief architects of Obamacare, came out and said this was built to fail. Obamacare was built to fail. Why? Because they expected Hillary Clinton to win in 2016 and implement socialized medicine. They wanted her to implement socialized medicine and and move us toward a completely single-payer healthcare system is what the Democrats wanted. They were pushing for that the entire time. That's not what this country is all about. This country is about limited government and individual liberty. And when you start implementing things like socialized medicine, and when you start implementing things like free education and all this welfare, it's no longer about those things. But the Democratic Party does not support that, ladies and gentlemen. And the Democratic establishment does not support this country and its fundamental principles and its founding principles. Someone like George Soros, who funds the Black Lives Matter movement, who funds the women's marches, right? Who funds people like Hillary Clinton, gives money to the Democratic establishment. They aren't even from the United States. They could care less about this country, but they have a globalist agenda that they would like to push, right? And America is the only country standing in the way of that. If they can convince the people in this country to start voting against what's best for them and transform this country into a globalist, socialist country, smooth sailing from there. But that is not going to happen right now. I mean, we have Donald Trump. We just had the Trump movement, right? And it was huge. But these people don't care about this country. Hillary Clinton does not care about this country. Bernie Sanders does not care about this country, at least in the way that it is right now. He does not want a capitalist, thriving, small government, Judeo-Christian nation like the United States. He wants a big government, socialist, atheist nation. Now, a lot of these politicians will come right out and say, they're not Christian because it's still taboo to do that. But if you look at the things they support, you will notice that that is the case. They have managed to convince the voters of the Democratic Party through saying things like free education. If I were to tell you, hey, I'm going to give everybody free education, that might sound good to an uninformed voter. They might say, hey, free education? That sounds good. I want everybody to be educated. I support education. Of course I would support free education, right? That might sound good to you if I just come out and say it. But does it actually work? Is it actually what's best for the country? Do we actually look at that? Of course not. the Democratic voters have been fooled into believing that what the Democratic Party supports is what's best for the country and is what's best for improving the country. And that's not the case at all. I think as a Democratic voter, right, as someone who votes for Democrats, I don't vote for Democrats, but if you are a Democratic voter, if you're a Democrat, you need to look in the mirror and you need to evaluate where you stand, right? You need to say, do I really want to get behind the party of George Soros, the party of Hillary Clinton, the party of Bernie Sanders, the party of people who don't appreciate this country the way it is right now, the principles that made this country fantastic in the first place? They do not support those principles. Do you want to get behind a party that pushes an agenda that's harmful for this country? Is that what you want? I seriously think you need to evaluate your positions, because I don't think it's healthy to be a Democrat. In fact, I think it's toxic to this country and to your family members. You are literally destroying a country that's functioning just fine. Yes, we have our flaws, but a lot of those flaws come from the government. You know, people look at our country and they like to point out the negatives of our country. The negatives come from the government. Our massive debt is because of the growth of government. Government trying to spend all this money on welfare programs, on you know, Social Security, on things like that. They want to unfunded liabilities. They are spending all of this money and creating a bubble. When the government steps in, it destroys things. When the government grows, it spends more money, it goes further into debt. This has happened historically numerous times that we can look at. Yet the Democratic Party wants to support it again. But again, it's not about giving people free stuff. It's not about free education. It's not about free healthcare. Those are just incentives to get people to vote for the Democratic Party. What it's about is stripping this country of the things that made it great in the first place and turning this country into a socialist, open borders, globalist nation. And that's what it's about, and that's what it's always been about. And if you look at their agenda, that's what it's about. People like George Soros openly support that. Open borders, globalism, socialism. He openly supports that, and he's funding the Democratic Party. Let's look at a group like Black Lives Matter, right? Do I think that every single member of Black Lives Matter is toxic and is harming the movement? No. But I think that the people leading the Black Lives Matter movement have allowed the power to get to their head and have corrupted the movement. But if you go to Black Lives Matter's website and look at their list of demands, it's not that radical, right? I don't believe there's any such thing as institutionalized racism. I mean, if you could point out to me a company that does not hire black people because they're black or because of the color of their skin, or a government agency that does that, I will definitely take a look at that, and we could definitely fight back against that, but I don't see that, and that would be what institutionalized racism is. Do I think there are individuals who are still racist? Absolutely, and that's never going to change. There are always going to be ignorant people, right? Always. So, anyway, I just wanted to make this quick video to explain that tweet, because I think a lot of people are you know, taking it out of context, although I didn't really put it in much context. I just said Democrats don't care about this country. But I do genuinely think that if you're a Democrat, you need to look in the mirror and evaluate your positions and really ask yourself if that's what you want to support. I think it's important. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and share. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any more. I will catch up with you guys next time. Bye-bye.